Hey, it's me. It's Zach. What's up? How's it going? How are you? So, I've officially posted my first video on this account, which means we started. It's going. This video is going to be about my experience seeing Come From Away, the musical. Really quick, I want to do some maintenance for my channel. What are the vibes? What's happening here? So my plan right now is to be uploading every day, and that's really only because I have 3 videos in progress right now. But honestly, I'll probably end up posting every other day because I do still have to do school and things. So yeah, I'm excited, but let's get into it. Okay, so today I am going to give you my review on Come From Away, the musical. I'm really excited. I'll go over where I saw it, when I saw it, things like that can differentiate the production. But yeah, I have all of my notes. Let's get started. So this review will contain very mild spoilers. It's not anything crazy, but if you're gonna go see Come From Away, or you're planning on it and you want to go in blind, maybe don't watch this. But I think I only have 2 spoilers coming in here. So what's my experience with Come From Away? Where did I see it? When did I see it? So I saw Come From Away at the Phoenix Theater on March 13th, 2026. I was closer to the front, but if you were even sitting in the back, you could probably see most of the details because it was a smaller theater. So what is Come From Away? Well, Come From Away is an hour and 40-minute long musical, which means there's no intermission. And the dialogue and lyrics are by Irene Sankoff and David Hein. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. It is basically about how on 9/11, a bunch of planes had to emergency land into a town called Gander. And it's about how the people of Gander helped everybody on the planes during this crisis while they were stuck there for 4 or 5 days. There are mostly ensemble numbers in this show, so there might not be as much about vocal things. At the review of each actor is going to be kind of limited because they worked together so much for this show. Also, I'm probably going to say some of the actors' names wrong, and I do apologize. Okay, so the first actress is Maria Almarocho, who played Beulah, who is the head of Gander Academy. Now, she had amazing comedic timing. I thought she was she stood out in this cast, and I loved her so much. She was so funny. There were 2 moments in the show where she had to sing "My Heart Will Go On" from Titanic, and it was so perfect because it was supposed to be a comedic moment, not necessarily a musical moment, and it still worked as both a musical and comedic moment, which I loved so much. It was hilarious. Now the character Beulah is kind of running the show here. She's checking in with everybody. She's making sure everything is where it's supposed to go because there's 7,000 people who just came into their town, and so they're using the hockey rink and the academy and the library to put all these people are inviting other people into their houses, and Beulah is the person who's checking in on everybody, making sure are you okay, do you need anything, things like that. And her character is so genuine and kind and caring, and she cares about everyone that she meets, and Maria executes that perfectly. She seems so genuine and so much she truly cares for these people and what they're going through, and she really stood out for that. Okay, next is Matravius Avant. I'm not sure, but he played Bob, who is a man from New York, and he was on one of the planes that came into Gander. So Bob is in general a really funny character. There's this one part where he talks about how someone told him to go steal people's grills from their yards, and he has this whole monologue about, man, I thought I was gonna get shot and some people will help me steal their own grill. And it was a really funny monologue, and Matravius is really good at portraying the comedy that Bob has in the show, and I love it. So a lot of these people play multiple parts because there's only 12 actors in the whole show. So he also plays this like sexy pilot kind of person. He only shows up twice for like a minute each, and those 2 minutes of the show are so hilarious. He entered the second time because we knew what he was like after the first entrance. Everybody just started laughing, and there was this backtracking music to go with it. Chef's kiss. Okay, next is Sally Jo Bonneau. So she played a divorcee from Texas, and in the show, Diane has a love story with one of the characters, and she is so good at portraying what she needed to for this character, where she had to show this like awkwardness of having young love at an old age, and it was so perfect by showing the awkwardness but then also the actual feelings. And also Sally's singing is impeccable. She sings the song Stop the World with the character Nick, and it's amazing. It's stunning. It was gorgeous. The emotions were there, and so was the vocal technique, and that's what I think really like drove it. The next actress is Chanel Bragg. She plays Hannah, who is a mother in the show. And Chanel, I think, was one of the standouts of the show, like one of the biggest standouts, because her voice is so powerful and so beautiful, but also the emotion that goes into her acting and her singing is insane. Like, she made me cry twice with her acting and her character. Now, the character Hannah is this woman who waits by the phones while she's in Gander, hoping that she'll get a hold of somebody who can say that her son is okay because he's a firefighter, and it was 9/11. By the end of the musical, we come to find out that her son did die. Her delivery of the line saying that her son died, it was amazing delivery, amazing acting. It was so sad. Like, I could hear multiple people, like, audible, oh, or like audible reactions to that, and it was really sad. Me and the two people I was with were crying when she said that. And then the song that Chanel sings as Hannah is called I Am Here, and it was such a heartbreaking song. It's about how she's like here sitting waiting whenever someone can call, she's just gonna be there waiting, and it's really sad. And you can tell that she put so much power, so much emotion, and so much work into becoming Hannah and doing this show, and it really showed. It was gorgeous. The next actress is Kaylin Kraser, who played Janice, a news reporter from Gander. She also played a flight attendant on one of the planes. So as the news reporter, Kaylin uses like a typical Gander accent, I assume. And then as the flight attendant, she has a southern accent. And not only did it add humor, it helped differentiate the characters enough for the show to be like easier to understand with multiple people playing multiple characters. And I liked that. As the news reporter, she did an amazing job. She was funny, the comedy was there, the emotions into some of the sadder parts. There are parts in the show where she just walks down center stage and she goes, September 11th, 2001, 7:45 a.m. And then she says what has been happening, and she was funny when she had the emotion when she needed it. It was perfect. The next actress is Trisha Ditsworth. She played Bonnie, who is a SPCA worker, and she helps with animals. So the people in charge tell Bonnie not to go on the plane, and being the person that she is, she doesn't care. She goes on the plane anyway, and she rescues I want to say 8 animals, I think. And the whole point is that she's funny when she goes against the rules that were put in place, but then you can still tell that she has care and feeling and emotion for the animals, and that really showed. It was an amazing portrayal of that. And then Bonnie's character has a couple times in the show actually where she'll be in the middle of like an emotional or melancholy scene and then just have to deliver a comedic line like very little time later, and Trisha did that perfectly. The joke landed every time, no matter what just happened in the show, which that was good. I liked that. Okay, next is EJ Doring. He played Oz, who is the constable of Gander. EJ was the most into the show. The energy was out of this world. There was so much energy. There was like so much passion in it. It was perfect. Made so many good choices, good acting choices. Because he played a couple characters too, where he would play the constable, and then he would go into a Gander citizen, then he would go into someone on the plane, and then he would go into somebody in a coffee shop, and it was perfect, amazing, gorgeous, loved. And he was so funny when he did literally any of the characters. Every character he played, it was hilarious to watch him, because the joke landed every time. This cast was stunning. Now, our next actor is Rusty Ferrance. Now, he played Nick, who is a man from England. He's the one who falls in love with Diane. Now, Nick is in the main love story with Diane, and like her, he has his comedic moments as well as his emotional moments, where he has that awkwardness of we're falling in young love even though we're really old people, and that also shows in like his portrayal of the character. It was amazing. He especially had the awkwardness because there were a lot of times where Diane was like very nonchalant about it, and he would be like, yeah, like Diane kissed him in a bar in the show, and obviously she was just like partying, and he was like just being awkward about it. It was really funny. And since Nick and Diane are in love, they sing a song together, which was the one I talked about for Diane. But Nick's part in that song also stood out amazingly. His voice was insane. The vocal ability was there. Okay, next is Amy Jo Halliday. This was my standout of the show. She was my favorite. She played Beverly, who was the pilot of the plane. Her voice is so powerful. She sings this song, Me and the Sky. The singing was amazing. It was so powerful. It was beautiful. It was insane. It was my favorite song of the whole show. I loved it. It was great. It was gorgeous. And she still plays a Gander citizen and somebody from the plane. And both of the characters she did for that were perfect. Like, I genuinely couldn't tell which character was her main character because they were both so perfect. Now, like Caitlin Frazier, the news reporter / flight attendant, Amy also used a southern accent and a Gander accent, and they were, again, both perfect. She even had a different, octave she was speaking in when she did it. She spoke higher as a Gander citizen and lower as the pilot, which was even another step further, and I loved it so much. There were times in the show where she had to be giggly, funny, sad, authoritarian, hopeful, scared, and every time it was perfect and the emotion translated, and it was insane. So there's something that happens in the show and it leads to the line, "It was the most thorough body search I had ever seen," quote. And that line got me. The way Amy delivered it was so perfect, and that I cried there too. It was still, I think I cried more because of how it was in the context of the scene, but it was still, yeah. Okay, next is Caleb Reese, who played Kevin T, who is a CEO of this environmental company and is gay. We love. I think Caleb had a great portrayal of this character. I think he has a little bit of a smaller role, so it was harder to come up with things for him, but it's not like it was difficult. It was still amazing. There are moments where him and his boyfriend are fighting, and he has this sadness to him over it, but also this hopefulness that it's a rough patch, we're gonna be okay, it's all good, but he's still sad in the moment, and I think that translated gorgeously with the audience. Now, he sings this song called Prayer, and it was really pretty. His voice was amazing. His voice was stunning. I feel like I don't have much to say about him. It's just that he was good, and I don't mean that in he was good but not great. No, he was good, and I can't think of reasons why he was good. It just was good, which I love. Next is Levin Valayil. I feel very white right now. I'm sorry that I probably pronounced that wrong. He played Kevin J, who is the Kevin that we just talked about, his secretary, and he's also gay. They're dating, and he was another standout to me. One of the best actors, I think, in this specific show. He had three roles, which was a Gander citizen, a Muslim man on the plane, and then Kevin J, who was like a different guy on the plane. He had every line down perfectly with whatever emotion needed to be translated. It was there. He had comedic lines, he had scared lines, he had sad lines, and every time I felt that emotion, it was gorgeous. As Kevin J, the gay one, he was still perfect. He was the very like girl bi kind of gay, and I'm here for it. I loved it. It was great. His character, I think, was one of my favorites. I wonder why. He also had a beautiful voice, again, like spot on. The emotions were there. The voice was angelic. Amazing. Our last actor is D. Scott Withers, who played the mayor. Now, I thought his character was amazing. He had this like narrator vibe to him, where he seemed like he was going to be like the narrator from Our Town. If anyone knows that play, he seemed like he was going to be that guy. And he actually ended up having a bit of a smaller role, I think. But everything he did was still really good, and it really stood out. And I liked it. He was a great They were all great casting choices. Okay, now it's time for the production elements, which I'm excited. So, for the production of the characters and the actors, like I said, the story has 12 actors total in the whole show, playing characters from Gander, from the plane, on a bus, in a bar, in a coffee shop. And I thought it wasn't only cool, it wasn't confusing. I know I said this like a couple times when I was talking about the actual actors. I wasn't confused on when what person was playing what character. I always knew because of the accents or the costumes, which we'll get into next, or just like the context of the scene. I always knew who was playing who, which I liked. Okay, next, costumes. I love costumes. I'm here for it. So the costumes are really cool because all 12 actors were wearing the same thing the whole show, but they represented who they were playing by jackets and hats, which I thought was really fun. So for example, Levin, who played Kevin J and the Muslim man and the Gander guy, throughout the thing, when he was Kevin J, he would have this red shirt on with jeans. When he became the Muslim man, he put on like a traditional Muslim hat. And then as the Gander citizen, he put on a denim jacket and a baseball cap. And I could tell every time who he was playing because of the costume and also like ways with the acting, but the costume like really helped with that. Kaylin Frazier, who played the news reporter and the flight attendant, she wore the same thing. For the news reporter, she had a red shirt, black pants, and black pumps, and she would just put on this black like suit jacket to be the flight attendant. Perfect. And I loved how that worked out. Now the set design I thought was also really interesting because there was like trees just going up, and so you could only see like the bark part of the tree. And there were a couple of those going up, and they just literally just went past the stage. And in the back, there was this like light up structure that was used to be the plane. So for example, Trisha's character Bonnie, the one who works for SPCA, when she went in the plane to find the animals, she pulled up this door so it was like an actual plane and went back there and got like a pet carrier. I thought that was really cool. And then also, throughout the whole show, this is kind of going into props, but I think it works with set too, where they really only used like 12 chairs, I think 3 or 4 tables, and then a couple props for this whole show, and it still worked every time, and I still understood what was happening, and I think that's just genius. Okay, now lighting. I loved how the lights worked in every scene. It matched so perfectly, and I think it helped with the mood. Like, I think the actors were still amazing with their emotions. I think the lighting really helped though, and I liked that. There was warm lighting in like more in the Gander areas, but like when something was going to be happy or when like nothing was really happening, the lighting was warm. For example, there's a scene where they're in a bar just like partying, and it has like a warm light to it, like a warm yellowy orange golden light. And then it's like darker and more sad in other spots. So when Hannah calls Beulah and tells her that her son died, the lights become this like bluey purple, and it's just two spotlights on the two of them while the rest of the actors are in the back, just like frozen in darkness. And it made it like, I think it made it so much sadder, and it was perfect. Okay, my general notes on the entire musical. I loved that I could tell who was playing what and when. I love that I could tell where we were, what was happening, what was going on for the minimal kind of production it is. This is a very like teamwork kind of show. You have to work together as a cast to do this, and it showed. They did it perfectly, and they seemed like a true team. Every song, gorgeous, stunning vocal abilities up there. All these actors, you can tell they know how to sing. They have training. It was perfect every time. And lastly, all the emotions were portrayed so perfectly from every actor. The sad scenes were truly sad, and it made you feel sad. The determination in some characters really made you feel like, damn, this is good. Like you felt that. The happy scenes, the silly scenes, every comedic line landed. It was perfect production. Okay, lastly, my final rating is 5 stars. 1000%. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. Would recommend. This cast is truly amazing, and I would go see this again if I could. This was a perfect production, a perfect musical. And to be fair, I haven't seen any other version of Come From Away, but I'm happy that this was my introduction to it. The show itself is great. It's a good show. I loved it, but I think this cast specifically really had something that elevated it, that brought it just to that next level, and I loved it. Okay, thank you for listening to my review from Come From Away at the Phoenix Theater. Like I said, the show is running through March 29th, 2026, with tickets starting at $60 and going up. I really hope you enjoyed this. I'm working on a collage wall. That's why there's a blanket on my wall. I have some videos planned. I'm excited. So, yeah, see you later. Bye.